bless his holy name. Very grateful for being up this morning. Having use of my limbs, get on your bed. Having life, health, and strength. All my bills are paid. I got a roof over my head. I got some food that I'm about to cook after I read chapter 6 and 7. Man, greetings. Good afternoon. Good evening. It doesn't matter what time it is. Just know today is the day that the Lord has made, and I will rejoice and be glad in it. Why? Because as always, God is good and he's good all the time. Duh. I'm doing a live. I'm talking to you. Get on your bed, girl. Both of you. Thank you for your obedience. Now, a little housekeeping. Make sure you follow me at Tierra, the athlete. Okay? It is on Instagram and YouTube. There you can find content on my athletic endeavors. Anywhere from fishing, bowling, mother freaking working out, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to do some of my lives here because I don't have the ability on that platform on YouTube yet because I don't have 50 subscribers. But I'm going to tag myself through here because tomorrow I'm going live shooting my compound bow. I got to get some practice in because May, the entire month of May, is turkey season. So I'm going bow turkey hunting. And I gotta, get my practice in. I'm gonna take y'all with me probably to go get my bows, my arrows, because I'm currently down to, I think, 1, maybe 2. I lost one of my arrows the last hunting season that I hunted, 2023. So I'm pretty sure I'm down to like 1 or 2. But I would also like to put it out there. Y'all can find me, follow me at The Antithetical Antagonist. Over there, I talk about more subjects that pertains to society. I do interviews with regular people so you could get some insight as to what's going on in the world from an average person perspective. You don't have these people that's paid to pass narratives. These are just people talking their personal experiences. So yes, The Antithetical Antagonist, YouTube, subscribe over there, as well as Tierra the Athlete. Okay. Now that is out of the way, baby, we got to get into it. But before we do, y'all be patient with me because I feel like this is evident even in today, right? Wake up. Why are you sleeping? Comatose. I am weeping. Poor people reprimanded for identical actions to the rich. I won't believe this. Is it a joke? It's paradoxical, like the disparity between the weed users and coke. It said bill reform is freeing all of the criminals, yet we expect systemic reform from political, egregious murderers who participate in corruption. Lord Jesus, please help us. Are we just that destructive? For the love of money is the root of all evil. 1 Timothy 6:10 tried to wipe our minds like erasing ink from an easel. I rebuke because Satan just can't win. So the rest of that scripture says, which while they coveted after they have erred from the faith, they think this desire pays, but it states, and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. To break it down in layman, Satan has blinded the people and tricked them, deceived them into viewing themselves through his lens. He dangling promises of riches, knowing he done received the stitches. When Jesus laid down his life, took it back up. Yep, you heard me, that's right. And with all power in his hands. Yet our flesh really perceived Jesus as man. Our flesh cannot fathom that God literally took a piece of himself, sent it to a woman, a human, but not Adam's, but literally created and born him, literally created and born himself, taught us through experiencing humanly experiences how to love our neighbors as we love ourselves. Like those freed from Pharaoh's bondage. By their carnal man, they too were held hostage. Evil spirits are pervasive. Satan goes to and fro looking for the ones that's not read up the base list, the ones with shaky foundation. But baby, don't get it bent and don't get it twisted. I was taught to give back Yah's word, starting with, it is written. It is written as a poem that God gave me about 2 years ago. And it's evident even today. Even today. What's up? What's up? I thank everybody for coming in. Okay, so today we read in chapter 6 and 7. It's not a long read. It shouldn't be, as long as I don't stop too much and chit chat. But without further ado, let's get into it. Chapter 6. Bam! How Lee Atwater perfected the GOP's appeal to racism. Let me close my windows because I was smoking earlier. And it's getting a little chilly. But I'm going to still read. How Lee Atwater perfected the GOP's appeal to racism. The founder of the dirty tactics that were used by Bush 1, which is the daddy, in the infamous Willie Horton campaign was the late Lee Atwater. In 2008, filmmaker Stephen Forbes, however you pronounce his name, approached me to appear in a film about Atwater. And chapter 6 is titled Boogeyman. Remember, we are reading Barack Obama in the Jim Crow media, The Return of the Nigger Breakers by Mr. Ishmael Reed. This man got some amazing literature out there. I encourage y'all to look through his catalog and get a hold of some of them and read them. This is my first book by him, but I'm definitely getting some more. All right, let's go. One of the founders of the Neo-Confederate organization called the League of the South, which will probably renew its call for secession of the Southern states if Barack Obama wins, was the late Grady McWhiney. In this book, Cracker Culture, Celtic Ways of the Old, University of Alabama, 1988. This is a research paper, I'm assuming, some type of academic paper. He traced cracker to the Gaelic word crack, still used in Ireland. If y'all look at Ireland's indigenous people, they are actually black. But I digress. And anglicized in spelling to crack, and said it meant entertaining conversation. According to the New York Times, folk etymology had it that cracker came from cracking or pounding corn or using whips to drive cattle. He was quoted in the Irish Literary Supplement. Celts and Southerners, in Dr. McWhiney's view, are pastoral groups with a taste for gambling, drinking, and ruckus music, dancing, hunting, fishing, horse and dog racing. They are lazier than the English and Northerners and cling to an easily offended sense of honor, naturally linked to a propensity to violence. Now, this is a white man describing Celtic or Southerners in the United States of America, which are white people. They're referring to white people that people will refer to as crackers. And I think it's interesting because the same language was utilized to describe black people, to justify enslavement, to justify mass incarceration, to justify just flat out oppression. They will call us lazy and stuff. And I think it's crazy because here it is. A white man is saying this about Celts and white Southerners, that they are lazier than the English and Northerners and cling to an easily offended sense of honor, naturally linked to a propensity of violence. He resigned from the League of the South, complaining that it had been taken over by the dirty fingernail crowd. Interesting. I learned firsthand about how the media buckled under when self-described crackers seized the Republican Party. The kind of people who even use hot sauce on ice cream, who, like South Carolinian Lee Atwater, love black culture, especially the ruckus music, rock and roll, but have issues with its creators. Ishmael Reed is currently damn near 90 years old, and he wrote this book in 2010. Or at least this book was published in 2010. And this man is saying the same thing that black people say now, which are people that they're actually indigenous aboriginals to Americas that have been reclassified as black and or Negro. However, we say this all the time, that white people, y'all love black culture, but you hate the people who created black culture. In this tradition, check out Sarah Palin's Hands in the Air moves on the October 25th, 2008 Saturday Night Live. During the administration of Bush 1, I was invited to do commentaries on National Public Radio's All Things Considered. after the infamous Willie Horton. Remember, Willie Horton is the black gentleman who was released from prison, whom on paper, nobody in their right mind would have released this man unless he had to be like, what they call them? The little MK Ultra babies where they motherfucking brainwash people and they take them through some motherfucking torturous, tumultuous situations and then they release them to the public and then they wreak havoc. It's either that, because why would judges release this man from jail or prison? He, on paper, statistically was like that one you'd be like, okay, nah. No furlough for him. Yet, Bush the daddy was losing in the 1988 primaries, the motherfucking presidential election, to Michael Dukakis, who was pro, furlough programs, educational programs being implemented in the carceral system, motherfucking vocational training and stuff like that. Bush was losing to this gentleman. So what he did, they motherfucking released Willie Horton. Willie Horton comes out, motherfucking wreak havoc on a white woman and her boyfriend. And motherfucking Bush, the daddy, Bush one, sit here and it's like, see, this is what happens when you are lenient on crime. You got people like Michael Dukakis releasing criminals from prison. And look what happens when they release them, right? Pushing the narrative on top of the fact that they used white anxiety. They used the pre-existing ideas that people hold towards black people, white people that holds towards black people. In addition to the fact that when they plastered Willie Horton's face on the news, they darkened the man's skin color to appeal to this idea of black criminality, black, demonic. It's crazy, but this is what happened. And George Bush won the motherfucking presidential election. George the daddy. Make it make sense? But we're going to continue. During the administration of Bush 1, I was invited to do commentaries on National Public Radio, All Things Considered, after the infamous Willie Horton ad ran. An ad that criticized a Massachusetts program that led to the furlough of a black rapist and murderer, Willie Horton. In an ad that some contend caused the defeat of Democratic nominee Michael Dukakis. I learned this in my criminal justice studies, pursuing degrees in criminal justice over 6 years ago. And here it is. This is reappearing in a book that was written in 2010 by a man who is currently 88 years old. And I was taught this under different circumstances. It wasn't a black man pushing a narrative. I was taught this under motherfucking mostly literature, academic research that was motherfucking sought after and produced by white characters. And it's crazy that they saying the same exact thing about this political campaign between George Bush, Michael Dukakis, Willie Horton, and using black people. The racist ideas and stereotypes that have been motherfucking perpetuated and pushed as a solid fact through media. They used that, this nigga used that to win his presidential election. We're going to keep reading. I wrote a commentary about how the ad would backfire on Bush 1 and on Lee Atwater. The commentary was rejected, and that was the end of my career as a commentator on NPR. What they call that? National Public Radio. They claim is one of the most liberal, democratic type of radio platforms, and yet they got rid of motherfucking Mr. Ishmael Reed for his commentary about how the ad would backfire on Bush 1 and Lee Atwater. So the commentary was rejected, and his career was ended as a commentator on NPR. Atwater also employed tactics that were used earlier by Richard Nixon. This name pops up a lot. It's Richard Nixon, motherfucking Ronald Reagan, and Lyndon B. Johnson. Them are some of the most notorious, egregious, satanic motherfucking weirdos that was just corruption and just, I mean, if these niggas wasn't Vino, what the freak was they? We're going to continue. I'm trying to get through this. Employee taxes that was used early by Richard Nixon, one of his admirers. Bush one admired Richard Nixon, and are being used in the current campaign by Senator McCain. Painting one's opponent as unpatriotic, a socialist even, and packaging his wealthy clients as ordinary Joes, like Bush one pretending to enjoy pork rinds and cowboy boots. It's kind of like, I don't know, Hillary Clinton with her hot sauce. Motherfucking same thing with Kamala Harris and her collard greens that she motherfucking washed in her bathtub. Let's continue. Atwater's playing of the media is also a current strategy. A member of news entertainers have repeated that McCain charged that the media are in the tank for Obama. 2 academic studies and one by LexisNexis have disputed the media's supposed love for Obama. I watched 3 hours of Morning Joe on October 20th, 2008. Much of the time was spent analyzing General Colin Powell's endorsement of Barack Obama and debating whether it was given because both were black. Pat Buchanan, member of the media that's so cozy with Barack Obama, is on MSNBC all day championing the cause of Senator McCain. During the show, he joined Tucker Carlson, Howard Kurtz, and others who believe that the media love Obama. Tucker Carlson is notable for motherfreaking, pushing narratives. Him and Candace Owen, I feel like, I truly believe that they are controlled opposition to the likes of like the Daily Wire niggas. I really truly believe that they are controlled opposition, because if you notice, she always got so much to say, and she got her receipts, and she'll just motherfreaking, get you real close. She'll get you real close to an orgasm, and then blam, leave you high and dry, then move on to the next thing. And you sit here like, lady, I thought you had evidence. You can't make these proclamations or statements that are just so obscure and ambiguous that it provides no motherfreaking insight as to where the freak you going with what you saying, to where I'm clear on where you taking this. You know what I'm saying? And then expect me to back you and support you. But some people stupidly, blindly follow these people, even though this exists. This dilemma exists. It makes no sense to me, but hey, I don't know. I guess that's what happens when humans lionize humans. They don't give a damn. They will turn they motherfucking eyes, close their eyes, turn their cheek to the foolery, just to make themselves feel good. I don't know. Stupidity is comfortable. I've seen it time again, when people educate themselves and they become knowledgeable and aware, right? Because I do believe that an increase of knowledge, it kind of brings some sorrow, some sadness in a bit, because it's like, damn, it snatches you right out of that motherfreaking, that false sense of your, that the world is this peachy place. It takes you out of your false sense of comfortability, out of your comfort zone, and it makes you look at the world for what it is, and it ain't what you think it is. It's not this grand motherfreaking peaceful place that the majority of everybody is good. The Bible says none good but the Father, or have sinned and fell short of God's glory. So with that being said, that ought to tell you that the world is literally falling in shambles. But let's continue. Anyways, where do we leave off? Tucker Carlson, Howard Coates, and others who believe that the media love Obama. An Obama representative was riddled with questions, while Rick Davis, McCain's man, an Atwater impersonator, wasn't questioned at all, which are white guys. The male commentators expressed their having the hots for hot Sarah Palin without mentioning Troopergate. Even Lawrence O'Donnell was panting about the vice presidential candidate's measurements. That could be taken anyway. Measurements in what regard? Because I know some white boys, y'all have like a fascination with, other men, penis sizes and width. Strange. I don't know. Strange. Anyways, I digress. Let's continue. We ain't making this about that, Anyways, William Ayers of the 1960s Weatherman was brought up without reference to the support for projects on which Ayers and Obama worked for or from the Annenberg family, a Republican family that supports McCain. None of the media has followed up on Obama's listing of Republicans and conservatives who served on the same board as Ayers and Obama. On October 24th, 2008, Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski chided the New York Times for suggesting that there were hints of racism in John McCain's campaign. I suppose they missed the ad coupling Barack Obama with Paris Hilton and Rudolph Giuliani playing of the Willie Horton's card. Here's the script of a Giuliani's robocall. Trying to see if I got a pen on me. I should. I like to save my little spot so I can always come back, when I'm getting into a little verbal or rhetorical battle. You know what I'm saying? And people be like, where's your proof? It's right here, nigga. Where the freak is that line at? Okay. Y'all forgive me. I know I'm kind of wasting y'all time. You're probably like, what the freak are you doing, girl? Hurry up. We came here for you to read that motherfucking book. I'm going to come back to this page and look for the line. I ain't going to hold y'all for too long. Here's the script of Giuliani's robocall. Hi, this is Rudy Giuliani, and I'm calling for John McCain and the Republican National Committee because you need to know that Barack Obama opposes mandatory prison sentences for sex offenders, drug dealers, and murderers. It's true. I read Obama's words myself, and recently, congressional liberals introduced a bill to eliminate mandatory prison sentences for violent criminals, trying to give liberal judges the power to decide whether criminals are sent to jail or set free. Judges have always had a autonomy, and that has a sense of autonomy under the label discretion. Okay, because at the end of the day, what they call it, the differences between indeterminate and determinate sentencing, right? So when you eliminate discretion, everybody gets treated with the same, standards or whatever. But the thing is that when you just blanketly apply this general standard to people, you literally disregard the nuances that make these individuals different. Right? A person stealing, because who walked out of the store with something, the alarm goes off. They're like, well, I just pay for all this stuff. The cops get called. Now they're arrested for stealing. And whole time they didn't even realize that something wasn't rung up or something. They should not be motherfreaking punished to the extent as someone who intentionally went out to steal from someone to cause, harm. It's the same thing where people feel like people who steal to survive, in a sense, like you hungry, you homeless, and you go into the store and you steal a candy bar or something, or maybe you steal a bottle of water because you're thirsty. There's people out here who believe that punishment should not be handled to the equivalent as a person who steal with the intentions to steal. There's no justifying factor. And so when you remove discretion from the parties, it eliminates the ability for them to look at these nuances, engage it on that. That's why you got these weirdos with these buzzwords talking about, liberal. They want to give liberal judges the power to decide whether criminals are sent to jail or set free. But it's like, you're obfuscating. First off, why does it have to be liberal judges? Because if you actually look at it, majority judges that exist, unless they are in like a democratic city, majority of the courts are full of conservative judges. You see what I'm saying? And even so, in major cities, but you're more likely to see a greater amount of Democratic judges or liberal judges in areas, jurisdictions that seem to be more liberal, more blue, more Democratic. But I don't understand how it's forced bipartisan in a multi-partisan country. But I guess I do see it because, I mean, when you intentionally set it to where, politics is ran on money and endorsements and viewership. And so you have to be backed by these big machines, these big power machines, these big money machines. And when you are trying to eliminate the competition, you make it to, and you want to give this false sense of, there's fairness. We're not, forcing you with a dictator. So they give you this false sense of like, you had an option to choose. It's either Republican or Democrat. They tell you all these other parties exist, but why there's no independent, national committee? Why is there no Green Party National Committee? Why is there no Birthday Party National Committee? There's only a Republican National Committee, a RNC, and there's only a Democratic National Committee, a DNC, which are the power machines for the two political parties that run the United States. Discretion eliminates you motherfucking treating everybody blanketed. And honestly, people like Giuliani, if your priorities or your goals were to see criminals be incarcerated, then we won't have this drastic, disproportionate conviction rate of predominantly poor people. White collar criminals get away with crime all the time. The Sacklers have evaded prison sentences repeatedly. Why? Because they just managed to pay the courts and IRS, and they pay some people money. So you was anti-freeing motherfucking criminals. Then I encourage you to ensure that it looks a lot more equal. These white collar criminals should be filling up the motherfucking prisons and jails, but they not. Kodak pumped motherfucking poison into the city of Rochester, making hundreds of thousands of people sick, killing tens of thousands of people. No accountability that way. Why is that? Because the law only goes down. It's to control. Social control is for the poor people. It ain't for the rich. The rich created social control. That's why they evade the systems that they created. They're not held accountable within these systems because they control it. They created it. But let's continue. With priorities like these, we just can't trust the inexperience and judgment of Barack Obama and his liberal allies. With this appeal, Giuliani was up to his old tricks as the racial divider, an appeal he would later use in the 2009 mayoral race in which he supported Mayor Bloomberg against a black candidate, in an appeal for which he was chided by Times columnist Bob Herbert. Bob Herbert name sounds familiar, ain't that? Or am I thinking somebody else? What's that Bob dude name that was on that game show? Question mark. I got to figure out if that's the same Bob. I know the name Robert. The media emboldened Giuliani by supporting the myth that the administration of Black Mayor David Dinkins was a failure, during which crime was permitted to flourish. A belated revisionist assessment of Dinkins appeared in the New York Times. Also, ignoring the criticisms of the mayor's action on 9/11 by firemen and those who lost loved ones during the attack, the corporate media crowned Giuliani, whose support among New Yorkers was 40% prior to the catastrophe, mayor of the world. Walter Isaacson, appearing on this typical all-white cable panel adjudicating what's racist and what's not, agreed with Mika and Joe about the Times charge against McCain. This is same Walter Isaacson who traveled to the headquarters of David Horowitz, an ideological thug, and begged forgiveness after Jack White called Horowitz a racist. Now, you beg for forgiveness? Why would you beg for forgiveness? I wonder if he's one of them Ashkenazi Jews that are currently inhabiting Israel. It's a lot of strange activities happening with these people. Or maybe something even more because, you see all them people thanking Beyonce, Harvey Weinstein when they won awards. It's creepy. Mika Brzezinski chimed in that it's hard to run against an African-American candidate, which probably explains Governor Tom Bradley and Senators Harvey Gantt and Harold Ford. The fact that we hear more about Reverend Wright than the preacher who embraces John McCain, Reverend Hagee, is an example of how the right has intimidated the media. For the same reason we hear more about Bill Ayers than about Sarah Palin's tie to an Alaska outfit that advocates secession, the Alaska Independence Party, AIP, whose founder, Joe Vogler, made comments that, in comparison, make those fulminations of Reverend Wright, a former Marine, seem tame. Rosa Brooks of the Los Angeles Times, September 4, 2008, writes of Sarah Palin's palling around with secessionists. Over the years, Palin has actively courted the Alaska Independence Party, or AIP, an organization that supports Alaskan secession from the U.S. To be clear, we're not necessarily talking about friendly secession either. As the AIP's founder, Joe Vogler, told an interviewer in 1991, the fires of hell are frozen glaciers compared to my hatred for the American government, and I won't be buried under their damn flag. The robocall being used by McCain's campaign was one of Atwater's tools, slyly disparaging your candidate by asking a series of leading questions. When McCain's robocalls implied that Obama and Ayers planned the bombing of the Pentagon, some of the recipients of these calls are so ignorant that they probably think of the 9/11 attack and not the 60s weatherman activities that occurred when Obama was 8 years old. Predictably, in the final weeks, code terms like welfare and socialism are being bellowed by McCain and Palin. These are the standard Atwater tricks. Slithering beneath McCain's speeches is the idea that Obama is going to take the hard earnings of people like tax dodger Joe the plumber and give it to lazy black people who, as whites have been told by the media for decades, receive all of the welfare, which is not true. It's actually disproportionately held by white people. When it would take a couple of hundred of years for blacks to attain the kind of subsidies and government support that whites have received. Yes, sir. If one refers to these appeals as racist, the little Goebbelses, I don't know this word. We're going to circle this and come back. Goebbels surrounding the McCain's campaign would plead innocence. Another leaf from the Atwater's handbook. Only Rick Davis had expanded the technique by accusing the accusers of racism. And this is what we see now when black people are called to be racist, even though we currently have no political, social power in any regard to oppress anybody based on race. We very much so can be prejudiced towards you. Racist. That's something completely different. But let's continue. Among Atwater's clients was George Bush I, the daddy. So powerful is the Bush family, two of whose presidential campaigns were managed by Lee Atwater, that they were able to crush the promotion of Kitty Kelly's devastating portrait of the Bushes, the family, for which she received Penn Oakland's censorship award. The Bush family has been able to wuss Hollywood. In Oliver Stone's W, George Bush is portrayed as a clownish, lovable, and clumsy dope, a reformed party boy who was misled by incompetent and sinister advisors into believing that Iraq harbored weapons of mass destruction. Here we go with this again. Even though it's the weapons of mass destruction is America moving in to take whatever they feel they deserve. Code word for BS. Bush won, harbored weapons of mass destruction, not someone who was bent on evading the country from the beginning of his presidency. WMDs or no WMDs. Bush 1 is portrayed as a wise leader, a Solomon, despite his connection to the Iran-Contra scandal. This ain't the first time we done heard of our politicians being connected to Iraqi-Iran scandals. But let's continue. 2010, this book was written discussing Obama's first presidency. That was 2008. Here we are in 2026, 18 years later. Niggas and nothing changed. If that don't show our government's incompetence, baby, what is it? Anyways, his support. So Bush 1 is portrayed as a wise leader, a Solomon, despite his connection to the Iran-Contra scandal. His support of Central American death squads. Oh my goodness. Venezuela just got motherfucker ambushed by another Republican by the name of Donald Trump, who people say looked like Elvis Presley in the original version of the Statue of Liberty in New York City. Interesting how these niggas is motherfreaking. When did Bush 1 serve? 2001? 99? No, I'm drawing. I'm messing up. That's the son. The daddy was 1988 to 92. Then Clinton came in. Interesting. Let's keep reading. Let's see what other parallels we can find in this book that's talking about stuff that happened 18 years ago. So his support of Central American death squads, the Willie Horton campaign, and his invasion of Panama. Panama. Isn't that another Latin, Spanish-speaking country? Interesting. Cuba is on Trump's radar, amongst several other Latin countries, Spanish-speaking countries. 18 years ago. Y'all see the parallel yet? Let's continue. The Willie Horton campaign and his invasion of Panama that cost 3,000 Panama residents, Panamanians, lives. 3,000. He invaded Panama. 3,000 people killed. Residents of Panama. Nothing is said in W about the slaughter in the desert of thousands of retreating Iraq soldiers. Oh my goodness, the death, the slaughter. Thousands retreating Iraq soldiers. And the niggas wonder why the rumors of war with Iran seems to be so motherfreaking pervasive and galore. The slaughter in the desert of thousands of retreating Iraq soldiers on the highway of death. Sounds like when they was picking off, and when I say they, I'm talking about firemen and police officers that were picking off black people after that motherfreaking, what was it? Storm in Louisiana. The highway of death, they was on the highway too getting picked off. American police and firemen. American military at the beck and call of the president, their commander-in-chief, whom they can't even criticize or oppose without looking treasonous, and could potentially be incarcerated in the brick and even court-martialed, even if you said something as motherfreaking subtle as I don't like the president. It's crazy. Let's continue. Anyways, Lee Atwater is barely identified in this film in his attempt to be objective. Stone, check it out. Stephen Forbes, a young filmmaker with little money, used a small HD camera, the HYX200, edited his film Boogeyman, the Lee Atwater story on a MacBook Pro laptop, the kind of brilliant use of technology that will lead to the decline of Hollywood in the same way that cyberspace is undercutting the flaccid Jim Crow corporate media where Joe Barbies and Jane Bimbos are awarded the status of journalists. Ain't that one of the criticisms of Candace Owens? The Joe Barbies and Jane Bimbos are awarded the status of journalists. Same thing with Ben Shapiro. I'm drawing blanks on the Democratic side. I don't rock with none of them niggas. Anyways, flaccid Jim Crow corporate media where Joe Barbies and Jane Bimbos are awarded the status of journalists. And they have the temerity to ridicule the vacuity of Sarah Palin. Filmmaker Stephen, however you pronounce it, Forbes, an outsider, has done what corporate Hollywood has failed to do with his Boogeyman. The Lee Atwater story. Forbes is the most courageous film about the use of Atwater's tactics by the Republican Party and his beyond the grave influence on the McCain campaign, the kind of campaign that Joseph Goebbels used against Germany others. Last year, a bubbling, bouncy young Stephen Forbes asked whether I would be interviewed for a documentary on Lee Atwater, the Republican idea man who raised the dirty trick strategy to an art form. I could have sworn I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Yeah, I did. Why the frick is you notifying me, weirdo? Forbes. Oh, wait, we ain't there. Last year, a bubbling, bouncy young Stephen Forbes asked whether I would be interviewed for a documentary on Lee Atwater, the Republican idea man who raised the dirty trick strategy to an art form. Forbes and his producer came out to the house and asked me a series of on-camera questions about Atwater, specifically his use of the fear of race mixing, the old strategy that ex-Confederate candidates for office used to stir up fears about blacks being elected to office while those officers were doing some heavy race mixing with African women prisoners. I also gave my opinion about Atwater's exploitation of anxieties, white anxiety, of black men and his love for black music. Indeed, in Forbes' film, Atwater comes across as a white Negro, a term that appears during the Civil War when a Southern newspaper accused Jefferson Davis of treating Southern whites like white Negroes. After the interview, Forbes and I exchanged the information. I sent him some historical documents and he kept me informed about the progress of the film. Early this year, Forbes announced that his documentary, Boogeyman, the Lee Atwater story, will be shown at the Los Angeles Film Festival. It received rave reviews. I bet it did. We almost at the end, y'all. Next, I learned that it was screened at the Democratic Convention. Preparing for a trip east on September 19th for appearance at Yale, Colgate, the New School, New York University, and a trip to Buffalo, New York for my mother's book party. I learned that Stefan's film will be showing at the New Cinema in New York on East 12th Street. I didn't know what to expect. Our guests at my movie debut were my daughter, Tennessee and her friend, The famed poet from Puerto Rico, Linda Rodriguez Guglielmoni, forgive me, Carla and her friends, Karen Bacon, whose business is creating events all over the world. She got to talk to Michael Jackson in Dubai and Kate Hurson, a film editor who has worked with Clint Eastwood. I don't think that's anything to boast on. People exiting from the theater recognized me and asked me what I thought of it. I told them that I hadn't seen it. I sat in the rear corner of the theater in case I had to crawl beneath my seat where my performance not up to par. The full house was riveted as Lee Atwater's life unraveled before us. Forbes interviews with politicians and commentators were mixed with archival footage, but the way the archival footage was used was ingenious. Some of it seemed to do for Atwater what talk therapists do for those who use their services. Though surrounded by his fellow good old boys, even at home, some of the stills show him to be distant from the celebratory events following the success of those politicians whom he packaged. In some of the scenes, he seems to be daydreaming. When a child, Atwater caused an accident in his home that killed his younger brother. When a child, Atwater caused an accident in his home that killed his younger brother, his screams haunted Atwater all of his life. Lee Atwater perfected the appeal to racists' feelings among some white voters. Let me say that again because it sounds weird in my head. Lee Atwater perfected the appeal to racist feelings among some white voters. There we go. For over 100 years, politicians ran against fears of a black uprising. Baby, vengeance belong to God. Y'all in the Lord's hands, okay? Anyways, from the ex-Confederate officers who regained their power in Congress after the Civil War. Interesting. Through Tom Watson, a politician who began his career as a populist, through the colorful Southern demagogues of the 20th century. Instead of using explicit language, Atwater suggested code terms. Demagogues is appealing to your emotions. There's no logic speakers, pure emotion driven. So they use suggested code terms like welfare, crime, which are like buzzwords that motherfreaking, it eats up the simple minded. Busing. In his famous quip, Jesse Jackson said, "The bus is us." In Clinton's time, African Americans were alluded to with terms like personal responsibility, a code term used by Barack Obama, whose sister soldiered Black fathers in his Father's Day speech. After some interviews with Joe Coninson, a Chile Mary Madeline editor of a file work called Obama Nation, Michael Dukakis, who was destroyed by Atwater, and Ed Rollins, whose comments are frank, surprising, and remarkable, my face loomed above the audience. I commented on my reaction to the Horton ad and had a voiceover during a scene of the Bush 1 inauguration, commenting on Bush 1, whose family includes some dysfunctional members, speaking of urban demoralization. It's been 3 weeks and Hollywood hasn't called. My 15 minutes of fame lasted exactly 15 minutes. Boogeyman, Lee Atwater's story is not only informative but entertaining. One wonders whether the tactics invented and developed by this dirty trick successors, including the sinister bunch packaging McCain, will succeed this time. These guys make Atwater's campaign seem benign. In one ad, they presented Barack Obama as a sexual threat to white children. If anything, it's all children, but I digress. My only criticism of the film is the lack of discussion about Roger Ailes' role in the nefarious Willie Horton ad and the relationship that Lee Atwater had with the late Ron Brown, Clinton's Secretary of Commerce. Allies appears in one of the movie's stills in the company of Atwater. Ailes appears in one of the movie stills in the company of Atwater. Ailes, president of Fox News, once told a Time reporter August 22nd, 1988, The only question is whether we depict Willie Horton with a knife in his hand or without it. Nah, maybe I should just go all the way and put a gun in his hand. Y'all know how a black man and a gun just, it eats y'all up. Even though historically it has been shown that most possessors of firearms are white people. In fact, a study of 2017's stop and frisk amongst NYPD, their police department, research into their stop and frisk showed that even though NYPD disproportionately stopped black people, talking to them and in search, in hopes of finding motherfreaking contraband and firearms, contraband including drugs. Even though black people were disproportionately stopped by NYPD, they found that white people possessed more firearms and more drug contraband, even though they were stopped disproportionately less than black people. Make it make sense. As the amount of white people stopped and frisked declines, illegal contraband and firearm possession increases. Somebody explain that negative correlation to me. Aside from the fact that white people are well aware of the fact that these, biased ways of looking at people, especially black people, exist. So they are basically not only incentivized, but it makes it a lot easier for them to navigate in the world to commit crime because they know they'll go unnoticed. You'll end up looking for somebody Negro. Whole time it was somebody white. Like May Crow in the Blood at the Root book that I just read, A Racial Cleansing in America, where white people was literally out here lynching black people over some white girl who was brutally motherfreaking assaulted physically and sexually. But it's more likely that happened at the hands of somebody she know. Statistics even shows it. When it comes to violent crimes, when it comes to, invasive crimes, you are more likely your assailant is more likely to come from the batch of people that you know. You're less likely to be harmed by a motherfucking stranger. So less likely that it's all the way. The probability is low. But people disproportionately have this fear of black people. It's even asinine. And this book that I'm reading is called Dying of Whiteness by Jonathan Metzl. Dying of Whiteness. There's an extra piece of the title in there, but I can only think of Dying of Whiteness now. But I think it's crazy because there's so many white people that goes around in this world so fearful of black people, scared that they might be harmed, assaulted in some form of way by black people. Especially when it comes to firearm type of gun violence, And I found in this book, Dying of Whiteness, that white men especially, as you go around talking about, I need a gun just in case these niggers run up on me and try me. According to Jonathan Metzl, a white man, in his book, Dying of Whiteness, he said that white males are more likely to die by firearms committed by suicide than they are by homicide at the hands of black people. You are at a greater risk of taking your own life, white man, than you are of having your life taken by a black individual. Yet you have this inexplicable and unwarranted and asinine fear of black people When one, you are more likely to be harmed by someone you know, which is usually people in your community. Remember, people love to talk about black on black crime. It's called proximity crime. People are very tribal. In this motherfucking raggedy nation that we falsely believe that it has been desegregated and we are just so integrated and mixed in so well. This raggedy nation, if you just go outside and step into the ether out there, touch some grass and a couple of sidewalks, you'll see apartheid exists. You got a community of Filipinos living here. You got a community of Puerto Ricans living here. You got a community of black people living here. You got a community of wealthy black people living here. It's like that everywhere you go in the United States. So with that being said, unless you go into some huge event that's populated by, thousands and tens of thousands of people, maybe hundreds of thousands of people, you are more likely to be harmed by somebody. Somebody that look like you. And even worse, you are more likely to harm yourself, white men, than be hurt by black people, especially by firearms. But I'm gonna keep going. We 56 minutes in. Barack Obama, whose sister soldier black farmers or fathers in his Father's Day speech, after some interviews with Joe Conison, I read that already. Hold on, Jesus. Lasted 15 minutes. Okay. Sexual threat to right children. My only criticism of the film is the lack of discussion about Roger Ailes' role in the nefarious Willie Horton ad and the relationship that Lee Atwater had with the late Ron Brown, Clinton's Secretary of Commerce. Ailes appears in one of the movie stills in the company of Atwater. Ailes, president of Fox News, once told a Time reporter, what did he tell the Time reporter? August 22nd, 1988. The only question is whether we depict Willie Horton with a knife in his hand or without it. The only question is whether we depict Willie Horton with a knife in his hand or without it. If Willie Horton, at his own recognizance, went out and raped and killed that lady and brutalized her boyfriend, again, at his own recognizance, why will the president of Fox News, Ailes, say the only question is whether we depict Willie Horton with a knife in his hand or without it? Why would you say that? The final scenes are ghastly as well as pitiful. Atwater is shown suffering from the final stages of brain cancer. I'm about to say breast cancer. He sits slumped in a wheelchair with a head the size of a prized pumpkin as his former allies ignore him. We're informed that as death approached, Atwater was consulting religious leaders. These includes Buddhists. Maybe Atwater was reincarnated as the Fox News network while he playing. That's very likely. Very likely. This motherfucking, what they said, conscious transfer is becoming to actually be viewed as a thing. All right, y'all, we're getting into chapter 7. It's not much. Like I said, most of the time it's just me rambling, but look at this. I can show y'all. It's literally like 5 pages. This is the title. Page 1. Bam, we at the end. Look at that. We almost there, y'all. All right. My shoe coming off. Ooh. My bad, y'all. Okay. Chapter 7, y'all. The Promised Land, question mark. Morning in Obama-America. I wrote a light satire for counterpunch of my vision of what a post-race America will look like. Come on, little page. You flipped the first time for me. There we go. The wolf shall also dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf, and the young lion, and the fatling together, and a little child shall lead them. I'm about to say that's from the Bible. Isaiah 65:25. That's how we know we are at the end of times. Because you lay a baby by a leopard now, it's probably going to eat your baby. But you know we at the end of times. Y'all know we are there when Jehovah returns. When you can sit your baby by a lion and they won't even be eaten. But anyway, let's continue. Great American satirist George Schiller's prescient in comic No Mo is about a scientist named, but I said no mo, is about a scientist named Dr. Crookmore who comes up with a formula that turns blacks to whites. I wonder how Schiller would treat the current profitable Back to Africa DNA. Helcom. As a result of a country that is totally white, it's not. The Civil Rights Organization goes out of business, and even the last holdout, the character based upon the black nationalist Marcus Garvey, in the end tries some of Dr. Crookmore's solution. Will something like this happen where Barack Obama to become president? A country where there exists no social divisions and the issue of race has become diffused? The leader of the NAACP says the work of the organization will continue even with an Obama victory. Why? Wouldn't it be better that the NAACP shut its doors, as cable's leading conservative intellectual Tucker Carlson has suggested? NAACP is another motherfucking organization, like Black Lives Matter movement, that just did not benefit black people. The Freedmen Bureau benefited black people. NAACP was created by white people to make us think this is for you, Negroes. What's that scripture? Satan comes as the angel of light. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against rulers of darkness, powers, principalities. Just saying. And then the same niggas running our motherfucking our government, you know? Same niggas running the corporate world. Because you can't forget the oligarchs. Them niggas pay into our motherfucking politics. They rule our lives with money. Money is the root of all evil. 1 Timothy 6:10. Anyways, let's continue. The leader of the black, I was about to say the leader of the black. I did say the leader of the black. The leader of the NAACP says that the work of the organization will continue even with the Obama's victory. Why? Would it be better that the NAACP shut its doors, as cable leading conservative intellectual Tucker Carlson has suggested? Auction off his assets and join the post-race fever? In this new black aesthetic, 1989, author Trey Ellis announced the arrival of a generation of African Americans who will place the issue of race in the background. Unlike we curmudgeons and cranks who came of age in the 1960s, they talking about the baby boomers, and who are still carrying on like those Japanese soldiers who weren't aware that the World War II was over. The new black intellectuals is even praised by Robert Boynton in an essay that appeared in the Atlantic Monthly, March 1995. Curmudgeons is new. This man is such a word motherfucking. He's prolific with words. I'll tell you that. Curmudgeons. I just be stopping and circling words so I could come back and look them up. I don't know what that means, y'all. I would have told you if I did. I could kind of guess within the context of the sentence, but I gotta look it up. Anyways, to many, Martin Luther King's dream has been realized. I don't know, because when Martin Luther King was marching, there was less people incarcerated that are black. Just saying. The familial structure was still put together, holding on, you know, strong. Little wavering, little still holding on. So I don't know what dream of Martin Luther King's was realized, because nigga, I don't see it. Anyways, I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted. Every hill and mountain shall be made low. The rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. We all gonna see the return of the Lord. Every knee will bow, every tongue will confess that Jehovah is Lord. Obviously, me and my over 60 pals are still lingering in those crooked places and refusing to process the sunlight that is available to everybody else. Nah, bruh. Because you currently about 88 years old, and I'm well over, 40 years younger than you. And we in the same boat, my brother. I see what you see, sir. I see what you see. Just saying. We get there when Jesus comes back. I'm just telling you. Okay? Because even the Bible says that there's going to be a transfer of power. Oh, I got to wait patiently on the Lord. They that wait patiently upon the Lord, he shall renew your strength. I'm paraphrasing. They shall mount up wings and soar like eagles. Something like that. Read the Bible for yourself. Don't take my word for it. Anyways, let's continue. What does this promised land look like? The Obama America? Or the Obamerica? Shortly after Obama is sworn in, the police, instead of subjugating blacks and Hispanics to capricious, which is basically like malignant, hostile, harmful, dangerous traffic stops, will only stop them to offer free tickets to the policeman's ball. Throughout the country, they will address blacks and Hispanics as sir and ma'am. Wookie. The overcrowding prison problem will end because all of the blacks and Hispanics who's been sent there as a result of prosecutorial and police misconduct, probably half, will be set free. Niggas wasn't even releasing people out of jails and prisons, even with governor mandates during COVID that said, hey, release those troubling, geriatric communities, that release the people that have been in there for a while, and they seem to be all right. Release the people that are very, and they've been sitting there for a while. Monroe County Jail still got the people sitting in there today, which is a constitutional violation. You're not supposed to be sitting in jail unless it's for pretrial detention, which by law, you are supposed to be brought before a judge within about 48 at best. Because some of these local municipalities done critique their legislation and they put it to about 72 hours. You're supposed to be brought before a judge after your arrest. So the judge could rule whether or not your arrest was made legal, so they could decide whether to hold you because maybe you're a menace to society, or release you on your own recognizance and then just expect you to return and make your court appearances. But no, you don't have it like that. On average, people get arrested, sitting there forever. Every time I look at Monroe County Jail census in motherfucking Rochester, New York, it like pisses me off. And I'm constantly writing these niggas. And I don't know what else to do because they ain't doing nothing about it. But there's people that done sat in there for 2 years. Even if you were convicted of a crime, if you were convicted and sentenced to jail, technically, by law, you are not supposed to sit in there over 364 days. Anything longer than 364 days, you have to be transferred to a prison because jails they're not equipped to accommodate people for long periods of time. Yet it's not uncommon for jails to be overpopulated and for people to sit in there. Ain't never seen no judge. And if they did, they still been sitting. If you are watching this video and that is you, them niggas, that's a violation. Show them. But anyways, let me continue. We trying to get through this. Help me, Lord. Anyways, Throughout the country, they will address blacks and Hispanics as sir and ma'am. The overcrowding prison, problem will end because all blacks and Hispanics who've been sent there as a result of prosecutorial and police misconduct, probably half will be released. No, they won't. And all of these police who have murdered unarmed blacks, only to be acquitted by an all-white juries, will be retried. They won't. And then when black people are, standing in courts facing charges, maybe, just maybe, we'll actually be motherfucking judged by our peers and not a bunch of white people that come from jurisdictions outside of ours. It's crazy. The one time I actually made it to my trial, do y'all know I only had one black juror, and that nigga wasn't even from the city of Rochester. He was from our suburbs. Now, I don't know about you. I was 27 at the time. What old motherfucking person in general, you ain't even got to look at color. What old person in the suburbs is going to be told some wild stuff about a 27-year-old without them believing that, yep, it gotta be true because of the motherfucking implicit biases that exist in their own motherfucking head towards young people? Just saying. He the only body up there that was black, and he wasn't even from the city of Rochester. Everybody else were white except one woman. She was Latina. And she wasn't even, none of them was from the city of Rochester. They came from neighboring motherfucking suburbs and towns and villages. Nigga, you sit people to sit on my jury that come from motherfucking locations that got a black population of less than 10%. And I come from a motherfucking city where the black population is damn near 50% to white people. Nigga, go somewhere. This is how raggedy our systems is. But let's continue. Let's continue to see how raggedy they are, and they continue to be raggedy. Anyways, department stores without being watched. I still can't go in the hair store. It don't matter. They motherfucking Middle Eastern. I can go to the Asian market. It don't matter. Niggas is still looking at me. What do you think I'm gonna steal? Your fish tank, bro? Lord, come on. In the media, all the black and Hispanic and Native American and Asian American journalists who, according to the Maynard Institute's media watcher, Richard Prince, are being shown the door, will be rehired. They won't. The progressive media will spend as much time on the torture of black suspects in Chicago, New York, and Los Angeles as they do torture at Gitmo. They won't. And I think it's crazy because ain't Gitmo where they send motherfucking wealthy elitists? Why the freak y'all give so many damns about them? Oh, that's right. Because like the Bible says, the rich has many friends, but the poor has none. Let's continue. Blacks will be liberated from the crime, entertainment, and sport pages exclusively and appear in the other sections. They still there, Mr. Reed, and it's 2026, sir, as I'm sure you see, with you being alive and all, They will appear in the more cerebral sections as scientists, engineers, and astronomers. They might, as like an experiment victim, you know what I'm saying? Maybe what they call y'all know the word I'm talking about. Cavalier. I know the motherfucking word. Why am I drawing a blank on it? But when they use our bodies, our dead bodies, for science, that's when you'll read about us in these sections. When you read about the J. Marion Sims, who was awarded the title Father of Gynecology. Okay. Motherfucking Bruce Jenner. This nigga gets Woman of the Year. You get Father of Gynecology. How the freak you get to be the father of coochie? Like, nigga, did you create it? But that's when you'll see our bodies in them motherfucking in them pages. We the cadavers. That's the motherfucking word. When we the cadavers, the experiments. Hey, live motherfucking bodies to experiment. That's when you'll read us in them sections of the paper. They will appear in the more cerebral sections as scientists, engineers, and astronomers. Jonathan Klein and other cable producers will stop managing black opinions so that it doesn't alienate its white audiences and voices other than those of black correspondences from Reverend Moon's church will be awarded airtime. Global warming denier Michelle Bernard will be replaced by Jill Nelson. Will she? Jesse Jackson will be appointed lead editorial writer for the Wall Street Journal, and Al Sharpton will assume duties at the National Review. Rush Limbaugh will inaugurate a series called Great African American Inventors. Spike Lee will be invited to run Columbia Pictures, and Amy Goodman will take over at NBC. The Newspaper Society of America will apologize for the lynchings and civil disturbances caused by inflammatory media over the last 100 years or so, A choked up Rupert Murdoch will read the statement on behalf of his colleagues in an emotional press conference. John McWhorter, Ward Connerly, and Shelby Steele will admit that they have been tools of the eugenics movement and donate all of the millions that they have received from far-right organizations through scholarships for Blacks and Hispanic students. Blacks will have as much access to a good education as those members of Al-Qaeda and Saddam's government who studied in the United States. And people still trying to say that the Zionists, combined with the Roman Catholics, combined with the Knights of whoever they call themselves, and combined with the Freemasons, did not create control opposition called the Muslim. Y'all better ask about them controlled oppositions. Look into them. Let's continue. This will end the policy of you educate them, we fight them. Gertrude Himmelfarb and Lynn Cheney will insist that the works by Hispanic, Black, and Native Americans be added to the canon, right along with the books that they have labeled apocryphal, that they removed from the Bible. Interesting. Talk about it's non-canonical. Okay. Cornel West will co-host. Hey, ain't that the same man that's been running for president every motherfucking presidential election and nobody motherfucking knows he exists because he ain't backed by the motherfucking power machines called the Democratic National Committee or the Republican National Committee, because he ain't one or the other. If I'm not mistaken, the nigga is, forgive me, the man is independent or something like that. But let's continue. Where did we leave off, Jesus? Cornel West will co-host a show with Dr. Phil. The New York Review of Books will end its white-only policy and begin to resemble America. No? I don't know. I'm looking out into 2026. It still looks like that, Mr. Reed. Philip Roth will admit that all of his novels are autobiographical. Several prominent abstract expressionists will confess that they can't draw. Just been out here culture appropriate. All of the Blacks and Hispanics who have been driven out of New York, Oakland, San Francisco as a result of the policies of ethnic cleansing. Oh my goodness. Don't forget about Forsyth County and all them southern motherfreaking states. And don't forget the racial cleansing that we all call the trails of tears that everybody keep associating with white people. These motherfreaking Serbians that came from the woods of motherfreaking Russia or some trash, came through Ellis Island, undocumented, motherfreaking had descendant upon descendant and was like, okay, you pay $5, you could claim Indian, you could claim white. And then now you all of a sudden you got citizenship, you can own properties and all that. And now all of a sudden you got these people coming over here claiming white and being $5 Indians. Don't forget about that racial cleansing too. Don't forget about that racial cleansing too. But let's continue. The New York reviews of books will end its white-only policy and begin to resemble America. Philip Roth will admit that all his novels are autobiographical. Several prominent abstract expressionists will confess that they can draw. All of the Black and Hispanics who have been driven out of New York, Oakland, and San Francisco as a result of the policies of ethnic cleansing advocated by Jerry Brown, Giuliani, and San Francisco's Newsom, Gavin, will be invited to return. Interesting. And here we are in 2026. Niggas praising Gavin Newsom as if he's like this motherfucking amazing, person that's for the disenfranchised. All them niggas related. And the ones that's not related, they suck penis and suck teats to get there. There's a lot of blackmailing. There's a lot of venal tendencies. Niggas taking bribes. Look at Clarence Thomas. And that multi-billionaire that he been taking money and bribes from, Crow. The information out there, niggas just ain't reading it. Let's continue. The banks that aimed toxic mortgage loans to Blacks and Hispanics who would have qualified for conventional loans had they been white will halt the foreclosure process and negotiate these loans. CEOs on Wall Street will forego bonuses and golden parachutes. Sale conferences will be held at day's ends. For rent signs will go up on K Street. The American enterprise will close its doors. The right will stop using worn out phrases like political correctness and victimization and hire Sean Puffy Combs to provide them with some hip language. Mr. Reed, little do you know, these niggas was already doing that just behind the scenes. It's crazy how this book published 2010. 26 years later, 16 years later, 2026. Nothing's changed. It's interesting. An Obama administration will launch the Obama Doctrine, which will advocate friendly aggression and soft diplomacy in Africa, Asia, the Middle East, and other global spots where where Americans' forces are killing people. Like they was doing in Palestine, right? Amongst the Palestinians. On behalf of who? Bibi Netanyahu? 16 years ago, this book was published. We done had several different motherfucking legislative, motherfucking executive, and judicial actors holding these positions from various walks of life, meaning just two, Republican and Democrat, and nothing has changed. Interesting. What's that saying they say? The definition of insanity is to repeat the same action over and 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 over, expecting a new result. Let's continue. I'm just temporarily here. I'm just a spirit having a physical experience. I'm just temporarily here. I'm in my season. Some point in my season to go, and y'all won't even have to deal with me no more. Anyways, these trouble spots will be inundated with artists, writers, dancers, and musicians, engineers, doctors, and people who speak their languages. American students will be required to learn an Asian and African language as well as a Western one. But that contradicts the New World Order. I mean, we can't all be under one language and one religion and one new world. If we learn in other languages, you're messing up the plans, Mr. Reed. You're messing up the plans. The Knights Exemplar and all them weirdos and the hooplas. You're messing up the plan. American students will be required to learn Asian and African languages as well as a Western one. President Obama will call for an end to warfare by air so that these forces will at least look their victims in the eye before murdering them. No more drones, missiles. Members of the Joint Chiefs of Staff will address him as a Mr. President, both in private and in public. Mr. President in public, first name basis in private. The White House haunted by the ghosts of the Indian fighters, aka the black people, and the slave owners and KKK sympathizers like Woodrow Wilson, who once ruled from there, will be demolished, and the first family will reside in a St. Louis condo as the country seeks a fresh start. Put them in a condo. Nah, put them in the projects. That's where they subject us to live. Put them in the barrios, the ghettos, the insane lunatic asylums, the carceral systems. Put them in the military. Put them in the education systems that they throw us in. No, we here alone. That's what I thought. Let's continue because we almost done. We just got to finish a little paragraph. Okay. Where we left off, Jesus. Fresh start. Cindy McCain will sell her wardrobe and donate the proceeds to rebuilding New Orleans' Ninth Ward. You know, Mr. Reed, you are touching on a scripture right here. Because in the Bible, there was a man who came up to Jesus and was like, Lord, I did everything that you told us. I kept the commandments from my youth to now. And Jesus, I'm paraphrasing, basically said, congratulations. Now, go sell everything you own and give the proceeds to the poor. You know, that man walked away sad as hell. Why? He didn't want to do that. Like the Bible says, it is easier for the camel to get through the eye of the needle than for the rich to get into heaven. That's why I'm trying to be like Paul. Be content no matter what state I'm in. God, I'm content when you got me up and you elevated me. You know, you abounded me, and then I motherfucking am content when you lower and bring me down. Okay, and I ain't got nothing. Trying to be like that, Jesus. Cindy McCain, just like that gentleman in the Bible, he ain't sell his proceeds to give to the poor. They not gonna do it. They like having money. The love of money is the root of all evil. 1 Timothy 6:10. Any one outfit that she wears on a given day will help to rebuild a block. John McCain will acknowledge the black members of his family whom he has snubbed up to now. Oh my God. The Bible says, when you hear a proclamation stated by various witnesses, it's true. John McCain got some Negro or half Negro family members out there because it keeps coming up. It keeps coming up. McCain and his Negro kin. Come back to that just in case I, need a little evidence for my verbal, 1, 2, 1, 2. Obama critic, Governor Schwarzenegger, will be among the new president's well-wishers. He will offer to improve President Obama's physique by sending him some steroids from his private stash. And by the way, doesn't an effort to put some meat on somebody's bones begin at home? You on to time, Mr. Reed? A big step toward a green America will be to return to the land that was stolen from Native Americans, the people who've been reclassified as black and Negro. The Southwest will be returned to Mexico. That's it. That's it. It's chapter 67. It's finished. Let me see what these comments say. And then we gonna end this so I could go on by my day. I ain't gonna add nothing else. Y'all do y'all. So-and-so said hi. What up, what up? It's also an appeal to food. Yep, steak with mashed potatoes. All right. Actually, we're gonna show cause I don't ban none of my I don't ban none of my stuff. What are you talking about? Another moderator? Just handle this. I ain't got no moderators. None of this stuff matter. They are all complicit. We need to prepare for the second Exodus. Our Elohim is coming. I skipped over it because I don't know how to pronounce it. Yo. I'm not sure. I usually say Yahshua, but I'm not really sure how to pronounce it. I don't want to butcher, so I'm going to call him our Elohim Jehovah is returning. Yes, sir. Celebrate this Passover and wait for Yah. You talking about Easter? That's not my Passover. But I got you. Shalom. Yep. What's up, Kimberly? I just don't understand the paranoia from some white people. It's ignorance. It's kind of like the shared paranoia that exists amongst my skin folk. I mean, when I hear people of my phenotype discuss, other people, more specifically immigrants and Latinos, the rhetoric is damn near identical to the rhetoric that was utilized by white people against black people. So I think it's one of those, it's cliche. The oppressed becomes the oppressor in a sense. And then it's one of them like, I ain't had no help. It's selfishness. I ain't had no help. So why I gotta help you, nigga? We hear that all the time. Then it's ignorance. You got people defending stuff because they just don't know no better. Jesus said it best. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. That line could be applied to every human under every circumstance, including me. Forgive them, Father. Forgive me, Father, for I know not what I do. For we know not what we do, for they know not what they do. That might be it. But I get your sentiment. It could be baffling, but if you actually take the time and try to examine it and then not look at it from like a pretentious, haughty angle, you tend to realize like the things that white people do that we detest, we disdain, we abhor, we motherfucking do them ourselves. It's the flaw of being human. We're raggedy. Sin exists. Okay, we were made in God's image. The spirit is willing. The flesh is weak. It's the flesh tearing us up, man. It's like that anywhere and everywhere in the world. What the F are you talking about? I'm talking about Barack Obama and the Jim Crow media. The Return of the Nigger Breakers by Mr. Ishmael Reed. No damn duh is everywhere. However, this book was written by a man who resides and is a citizen of the United States of America. And he is discussing the issues in America. Now, since you want to We Are the World, the subject, I encourage you to come back when I read my book, Affirmative Action, Around the World, an empirical study by Thomas Sowell. Because then he don't just look at it at a macro level, or a micro level. He don't look at it just through the lens of America. He looks at it on a micro or a macro level. He looks at it as the whole nation, because niggas would be surprised that affirmative action actually exists everywhere. Handouts actually exist everywhere. And just like here, where people, although these motherfucking handouts were created under the guise of helping the disenfranchised, the people that were colonized, the people that were motherfucking oppressed, over time, it restructures and it starts to benefit the more affluent folks. It starts to motherfucking benefit the niggas that don't need no handouts. They already doing it. They could do it on their own. And then it starts to push out the niggas that it was created for worldwide. So come back for that motherfucking reading, because we got that one coming up. Probably going to be Friday. I haven't scheduled that live, but it's probably going to be Friday. But anyways, preach. Coke said, hi, what up? I'm white and I'm paranoid about what? I don't know. You tell me. Nigga, I'm not sitting here talking for you. I'm reading a book. On top of the fact that I am applying not only anecdotal experiences, but also motherfucking stats that I have accumulated, evidentiary data, data that's out there, statistics that supports these notions. I mean, I encourage you, go to the description. You ain't got to scroll very long. It'll show immigration and criminal justice or something like that. That's my research paper. That's my capstone. I did that to complete my master's. It's equivalent to a master's thesis. You can find all of my references in there. You read some of them articles for yourself. And if you need more, I got you. Because I got a bunch of files on my motherfucking, between my hard drives and whatnot, because of the fact that I actually spent some years, by the grace of God, accumulating information through reading. You got to try it sometimes, y'all. Y'all got to try it. They always said, if you want to hide something from people, put it in a book. You're supposed to get a speedy trial as well. Yes, you are. If you're the group that enforces your own rules, shrug. I don't really know where you were going with that, so I'm not going to comment any further than saying I agree with the former part of your comment there. The lawyers are involved with jury selection. Yeah, you're right. The process is called veneer, I believe. Or is it voir dire? I know it's one or the other. Veneer, voir dire, one of them is the jury selection process, and the other one is the examination, the process of examination to decide whether or not they're going to use them. You're right. They do. But you got to remember, those lawyers are humans, and humans are full of biases, including myself, implicit biases. So the Bible says that man has a flawed way of perceiving reality, life. We look on the outside. We judge based on what we see. The Bible tells us all the time, walk by faith, not by sight. The Bible tells us all the time, lean not to your own understanding, but in all thy ways acknowledge God and he will direct your path. The Bible talks about how flawed man's, way of processing information. So if humans are holding the positions of lawyers, that means them lawyers are holding flawed ways of analyzing situations. They consist of motherfucking implicit bias, just like the next person. So if you are a lawyer and you don't like black people and you sitting there as a prosecutor, what the freak you think, who you think you about to select in the jury? You're not about to get a bunch of black loving people. You're not about to get a bunch of white people that you think love black people. You're not about to get black people that you think are going to be lenient towards other black people. It's the same thing. If you trying to punish a child, a young girl, because society has promiscuity amongst males, but it has motherfreaking demonized it amongst females. And so now that young girl gets dragged through the court system for prostitution. Nigga, you as a prosecutor, your job revolves around convictions. You can't afford to lose. So one right there, you already incentivized to set this up in a way that enhances the likelihood of your winning, even if it muddies the motherfucking truth. So what you gonna do? 9 times out of 10, you're gonna go look for a jury. You're gonna look for jurors that you can put on your jury that is going to be anti-prostitution, that is going to have malicious views towards sexually active young girls. You know what I'm saying? To ensure you get that motherfucking win. And the same thing applies with a defense attorney, with a motherfucking public defender. If I'm the public defender and my motherfucking client is black, I'm not about to go and get I'm not about to select a bunch of jurors that are white, old, and from motherfucking rural America. I'm just not. I'm not. Why? Because this is how I'm processing society through this flawed way of, every one of us shares that same flawed way of thinking. So you're right. The lawyers select the jury, but it doesn't negate the fact that they do so under some strange, you know what I'm saying? Under some strange predicaments. How they go about it. The thought processes that they put into it. It's kind of like how y'all choose your favorite sports team, your favorite actor, your favorite celebrity. I like this person because they're cute. I like this person because they're fast. Preferences, come on, that are tailored to your biases and your ideologies. All right, let's continue. I ain't trying to hold y'all too long. The lawyer should look to select jurors that they believe will side and possibly advocate for you. Ideally, that's what they're supposed to do. I had a lawyer, public defender, and it ended up becoming a conflict defender because I ended up running through public defenders because they was about to just do me or any old kind of way. You're not about to sit here and tell me I got to listen to you because you're the lawyer when this is my life and liberty and freedom on the line. You're not about to sit here and usurp authority over me because of some little status that you think you hold. Nigga, this is my life. You work for me. Whether I'm paying you directly or you getting paid through the courts and it's a little bit of dollars. You work for me. But that heifer told me to my face. You got to listen to me. I'm the lawyer. I don't get paid enough for this. As she failed to motherfreaking build her defense case for me, which gave me legal grounds to fire her, which then opened the door for mistrial. Whole case fell apart because of what? Not even prosecutorial misconduct, although there was room for prosecutorial misconduct, because y'all know currently Tyler Robinson, the guy that's accused of killing Charlie Kirk, he is dealing with some issues with the court system where they have failed to provide discovery, prosecutorial misconduct, which is grounds for mistrial. How do I know? Because it happened to me. On top of the fact that I have not one, not two, but 3 degrees in criminal justice. I know this stuff. And if I'm coming off motherfreaking pompous, forgive me. I'm not. I'm trying to show you that I've literally dedicated a good portion of my life to gaining this information because I aspired to be a lawyer, and I thought it would be stupid for me to be a lawyer, you know, just because law school say you could come in and, you know, try to become a lawyer as long as you have a bachelor's degree. They don't give a damn what your bachelor's degree in. You can have 2 degrees, an associate's and bachelor's degree, all in art, and then decide to become a lawyer. I didn't want to be an ill-informed lawyer. I didn't want to be a lawyer, you know, coming over with a business degree. I wanted to be a lawyer. If I'm going to be working in criminal justice matters, nigga, I need to know about the criminal justice system. Just saying. But I guess, you know, coming from business into law works if you call yourself being some type of business contract type lawyer, consumer lawyer. But if you call yourself trying to be a criminal justice lawyer and you got business degrees, huh? You're trying to be a lawyer, criminal justice lawyer. And you got degrees that can make you a gym teacher. Just saying. You can be efficient at your job. I'm just letting you know with my flawed way of looking at it, because I'm looking at it on the outside, looking at it, you look crazy. But anyways, let's continue. You right though. They're supposed to advocate for you. But my lawyers was raggedy. These niggas dropped the ball. And because they dropped the ball, motherfucking stuff fell apart. That's why I say, Tyler Robinson, hold out, because the whole point of them doing all this weird stuff is because they trying to wait. They're just trying to smoke you out, my brother. So you could take a guilty plea. That's all. They want you to take a guilty plea. Because if you think about it, A lot of people talk about how the federal conviction rates are so high, nigga. Look at the statistics. They're high because of guilty pleas. They're not high because the prosecutor is proven beyond a reasonable doubt that the person that they accused of doing X, Y, and Z as actually did it. And they proved that in the court of law. No. They coercing niggas into taking guilty plea. How do they coerce you into taking guilty plea? Well, nigga, you plead guilty. We'll drop this to a lower offense. You won't have to do any jail time. In your mind, you like, that's great because I got to go to work tomorrow. I'm going to be fired. That's great because if I don't pay my bills and I end up getting stuck in jail prison for eternity, waiting in pretrial detention, by the time I am released, niggas could be homeless. Coercion. If you take this to trial, you're going to upset the judge. And then they're going to give you the maximum sentence. Coercion. But let's continue. Vote Cornel West, please. That is the man that be running for motherfucking president, Cornel West. I feel like it is because I've seen his name before. I know there's a bunch of people that nobody knows about. And I feel like Cornel West is one of them. He literally runs every motherfucking presidential election. Nobody knows about him, though. It's the same thing with that Jill lady. Well, she don't run every single one, but she's ran quite a bit. You can read. Yes, I can. Congrats. Why, thank you. I hope you can. Is this supposed to be comedic or performative? Neither. Informative, nigga. I mean, what? I'm informing you in my natural state. This is how I conduct myself on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying? You should have seen me at court. Dressed just like this, pissing them judges off. Because they like, damn, this motherfucking girl, she's an intelligent young black woman. I don't like it. And she don't take none of this serious. No. Because I got a God that sits up high and the lead looks down low. The Bible says, greater is he that is in me than he that is in this world. Nigga, what can you do to me when I got Jehovah on my side? I don't take none of you niggas serious. Pure theater. I mean, if that's how you see it, you niggas stuck around long enough to engage. So it worked. It said trick and 58 IQ. Are you saying this is a trick? What are you saying? And probably 58 IQ? I don't know. That'd be interesting if I have a 58 IQ because I ended up graduating with the second highest diploma in New York before they restructured our education system. The first highest diploma in the state of New York in 2010, which is the year I graduate, was an advanced regents with diploma. The second highest motherfucking high school diploma was a regents diploma with honors. And then the third, which is what most people get, the average person, even the ones that just passed along, a regents, including the IEP holders, I had the second highest high school diploma and I missed it because I failed one class, chemistry. You damn near had to pass all of the prerequisites and I failed one. So they was like, well, you acquired all the motherfucking credits that you needed to graduate. It's just, if you wanted that highest thing, you had to pass all of your regents. I think I got like a 61 and you needed a 62 to pass. So maybe that 58 IQ showed up in chemistry. I don't know. And then I had a 4.0 once, at least once. I think it was like twice. I was on honor roll all my life. High honor roll. I mean, I was inducted to the National Honor Society. I was an Urban League Black Scholar. I got the motherfucking accolades upstairs in my motherfucking closet. You niggas want to see it? It's sitting right next to my motherfucking big old, my little shadow box showing that I was in the Marine Corps. Like, what you want from me? And I got not one, not two, but 3 degrees. And I made the dean's list, So a person with an IQ of 58, I'm doing quite well. doing quite well academically, if I shall say so myself. And I currently sit before you, the age of 33 years old. You know what I'm saying? 34 in a few months. Well, more like 5. But anyways, ignorance is colorblind. Okay. That's how you perceive it. Just saying, she dumb. Nigga, you dumb. Okay? Because how you come in, trick, no context behind it. Nobody knows what you're talking about. Then you come in and probably a 58 IQ. Nobody knows who you're talking to. You could have been responding to somebody in the comment. I don't know. You could have been talking to me. I don't know. It's unclear. You know, your sentences they lack cohesiveness. It is not cogent, or it lacks coherency. It's not cogent. You know what I'm saying? You're not really articulating yourself, but then you come behind to clarify because you knew you wasn't really saying nothing. Just to say, just saying, she dumb. We in the same boat there, my brother or sister. If you spot it, you got it. I don't know what the context is around that, but hey, don't judge incorrectly because of your dislike. That's not righteous. I mean, as soon as you let me know, where did I judge incorrectly? And then maybe I can address it. But until then, I stand on 10 toes on what I said. I hope it doesn't hurt your feelings. If it does, tough titty. I love you though. I actually like her. Don't understand why she's teaching on YouTube. She needs to get out there and let the people that could do something hear her. To be fair, or not to be fair, to be clear, I have done this in more public spaces, but I have the personality where I develop a lot of contention. Like how you see these trolls pop up in my comments. These niggas pop up in real life, but they're usually like politicians, police officers and stuff. And they're weird because like at first they'll come off all like friendly, like, hey, I like what you're doing. You should join my organization, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, nah, nigga, I don't do organizations. That's how MLK got murdered and the rest of them niggas. You over here infiltrating the niggas, betraying you. Jesus got betrayed by nigga in his camp. Solo dolo. At least I won't have to worry about Tierra to betray him with Tierra, okay? So I passed them niggas by. And then it started getting strange, you know what I'm saying? Next thing you know, the police showing up, I'm getting arrested. I literally went through like a period where it felt like I was being arrested like once every year since 2020. My most recent arrest was like about a year ago. And it was me defending a child who was being harassed. She clearly is saying, I don't want to talk to you, to a police officer who's trying to force her to talk to her. So I'm yelling out to the little girl like, you don't have to talk to him. And I'm telling the police, you know, good as well you are motherfucking held and obliged by the law that you cannot motherfucking interrogate no child without their parent or legal guardian present. They could go through your job accurately. By the end of that, I was arrested, okay? Niggas lied on me to talk about obstructing government administration, talk about some... I had them, I had him and the other officers' safety at jeopardy. Talking about I was standing in the middle of the street holding up traffic. Long story short, not even a whole 4 months go by. All charges filed against me, drops. And what do I got now? Another civil suit against Rochester Police Department. So I have been vocal, but because I do a lot of stuff by myself, I ain't dumb. So I've been trying to figure out how to publicly get this information to get back to what I was doing. Because I used to be on the streets with my little... I'm about to see if you can see it up there, but I don't think you can see it. I had a little... Oh, yeah, you could. Right there. But that case, that's my little megaphone. Get over there. I literally, what I'm doing here, I did the same thing on the streets. But like I said, I kept getting arrested. And then I kind of fell off of it because I was waiting. One time I got arrested, that thing took 17 months before the charges and everything fell apart. They even took my pistol permit. Like, I had to fight to get all that back. It was a process. So I'm getting back into it. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Because I do a lot of stuff by myself. I'm trying to move smart. So I link up with God. I'm like, Lord, you know what I want to do. I want to reach the masses. I want to get to people. And I honestly don't mind doing street ministry. I have a lot of growing to do because I nigga all day. mud freaking. And some people ain't gonna accept a person, a messenger with that type of language, even though I feel like it is the most subtle, way of speak compared to most, vulgar language that's used out here. But I got some growing to do, and I ain't trying to cause nobody to sin. So I'm in the talks with Jesus. We communicate, and I'm gonna get back out there. But right now, this is what I do with my social media platforms. I do this with my Facebook. I got a TikTok. I got YouTube, obviously, and it's not. Obviously, you could tell that I'm not trying to get paid off of it because the topics and subjects that I cover. Come on. Come on. Come out. So for me, this is like, I don't want to say a hobby because I feel like that's downplaying it a little bit. But for me, this is like, what is the word am I looking for? It's like something that I enjoy talking to people and informing people. I love reading and learning new information. And then I love like telling people about it. So especially because I love talking to people about Jesus. So, and my mom always told me, she was like, girl, you gonna grow up to minister about Jesus. I thought she was nuts at first, but the older I get, I'm at the point now where it's like, all right, Jesus, yes to your will, yes to your way. Get me ready, sir, because I'm almost at a point where I think I'm ready to do it. Because, I'm already out here talking about this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I might as well introduce you in there, too. I know everybody ain't going to accept me because you don't know how many times I've been telling you're an abomination. How can you love Jesus? He don't like you. I don't know. There's just something about God that shows everything that them niggas been saying is a lie. I'm just saying. God has a funny way of showing me he don't love me by showing me he loved me. I'm just saying. But I feel what you said. I should get out there. I'm going to get there. That's it all I have to say. I'm going to get there. I'm just waiting on God's time because, like I said, I got some stuff right now. Like, I got civil suits. Finally got these motherfucking arrest charges off my back. But now I got to, and I'm not saying that to boast. I'm just saying that to, like, inform people. This is why I tell people, sue. Nigga, I'm that person. Sue. Sue. Especially because I've always wanted to be a lawyer since I was a kid. A little kid. Now I'm actually moving towards that. Like I'm pursuing that. So it's like, yeah, I might as well get the practice in now, huh? Might as well get the practice in. Let's continue because I got to get up out of here. It's almost 2 in the afternoon. Read all my comments and see how my opinion evolved. The if you spot on, you got it comment was directed at the person that said you dumb. And unless I appreciate it. See, God always got somebody out here in the midst. Always got it. I appreciate you checking him or her. I don't know what they were. But I appreciate it. You don't have to, because at the end of the day, people just, they doing what they doing the will of their father. And I'm doing the will of mine, okay? Vengeance ain't mine. It belongs to the Lord. So I ain't getting in it. But I do appreciate y'all for tapping in with me. I need to go eat me some breakfast. It's motherfucking 1 in the afternoon, 1:30. Yeah, I gotta go eat me some breakfast. I gotta go, y'all. But I love y'all. God bless. Hi, chicken. You remind me of my niece saying hi, chicken. What's up, though? Because she be calling me, hi, poopy head. Hi, chicken. Just random stuff. But you right. Polish the delivery. And I'm telling you, God working on me. He working on me. But I love y'all. God bless. Peace. And I don't mean this in no disrespect. I mean it in shalom.